you one quick question here. I was talking with Mario Santoyo last week. He's with the Latino Water Coalition. I'm sure you've heard of his name.
Heard his name.
And gave us a number, and he was saying that the water that goes through the delta to the ocean was 65%. Do you know anything about those numbers? Because that's a hard number for me to swallow.
There was a drought conference at Fresno State today, and unfortunately I had to miss it. My supervisor, Carl Carlucci, though, gave me a very brief update. He said, and this was one thing he did tell me, he said that whoever did the presentation there, I think it was from Department of Water Resources, said that 75% of the freshwater river flow from Northern California that enters the Delta is meant to keep that saltwater barrier, 75%. And, you know, depending on that percentage, then that saltwater barrier will move within the Delta, and that's when we start having areas that are usually freshwater begin getting impacted by saltwater. So I can only say that that's the number he heard today, 75%. I'm sure in some years it's less, depending on, you know, if we have higher stream flows, they need less to keep that barrier, and so more can be diverted.
There's a lot of talk about some flexibility with the EPA during the time of this, disaster, this emergency before it's a disaster.
Yeah.
And, I kind of wonder if it would take a city like Coalinga, a western, valley city,
fairly big,
to spearhead something like this, saying, hell no, we're not going to reduce. In fact, why don't you, why don't you turn our water off?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Because then I wonder, at first people would be scared. They'd say, that's radical. But I wonder, because EPA is radical.
Yeah.
And you see 75% of the water, really?
Yeah,
going out to the ocean? What if we were to, ease back on that a little bit while the water bond, got in place and started producing some water? What if we were to ease back? It's a give and take, because the EPA isn't something that's been around since time began. This is something that humans also created. And so, I kind of wonder, I'd like to hear from citizens, if anyone's watching, if anybody watches on the internet later, let me know how you feel about this. Mario Santoyo, he told me, he said he wants me to come and he wants me to speak in Sacramento. And I said, you know what? I will. If you invite me, I will. And I want to know if the citizens back that, or if the citizens just want to put their head in the sand and say, well, we accept whatever comes from the government. Or do we want to say, hey, guess what, government? We've had enough. We're sick and tired, and we're not going to take it anymore. Please get in touch with me. Let me know.
And I would also like to add that, we're in a unique situation because we have prisons. And I noticed that when you did your water thing, I think it was last time, you had a chart up and it had the 4 biggest water users in Coalinga, but the people were not listed on that list.
They are the biggest.
The people are?
Yeah,
Or the corporation?
No, our residential customers are our biggest water customer.
So
those are just the top 10 water users, but it didn't include all the water customers. We have 3,500 water connections here in town.
I'm just curious, how much does the state hospital use on their prisoners compared to how much the citizens of Coalinga use?
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
Because I think we talked about this before, and it's like a sixth of our water.
Well,
That was the number that I heard, a sixth of our water going out there to the prison. And so when I was talking water, and when I talked to Harlan and Avenel about the water, he was talking about, hey, we got some leverage here because we got state people here that need water. And when I hear Ms. Keough here saying, hey, maybe we should call her bluff, I mean, 75% of the water is going to the sea because of a fish. And here we are in this water drought drama. When are the people going to stand up and say enough is enough? That's what I want to know. Like, hey, I mean, I'm on board with this guy right here. When is this going to be enough? And when is the water boards and the state boards going to come and say, hey, you know what? When are we going to stop doing this to our people? Because that's what I think. I think they are doing this to us. They want everyone to believe this is climate change. This is global problem. I believe that a lot of this is man-made problem. And a lot of farmers believe, a lot of people that feed us right here in the valley believe that this is a lot of it's a man-made issue. And so I'd just like to leave you with that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any more questions from the audience? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
Okay, moving right along.